the meeting room and accessible to members of the public. Will you please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is a consent agenda. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the consent agenda as presented, including approval of the proposed accounts for payment, approval of budgetary receipts and expenditures for September 2022, approval of budget hearing and property tax hearing minutes on September 29th, 2022, approval of option students, and the approval of the resignation of Dawn Enns, first grade at Paddock Lane.
Okay, thank you, Doris. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Janet. Any comments, questions?
Just some on the treasurer's
Treasurer's report.
report. Payroll this month, for the month of September is a 5-week pay period, so it was $1,765,217. Bills were $566,134. So that brought total expenses for the month to $2,331,352.42. Revenue for the month was $3,871,764. So we are still populating the budget due to the late date that was required by state this year to get it in there. So we're working on getting that done as we speak. But as far as that goes, that's a pretty typical month for us, and month one is over.
All right, thank you, Jason. Any questions, comments? All right, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes 5-0. Next up, outstanding recognition, employee of the month, Betty.
I have somebody here under false pretenses, but Darcy, would you like to come up here, please? I called Rick, he's such a sweetheart. I said, tell your wife you need to come and do a presentation to the board about the relationship between BCS and Beatrice Public Schools, and he said he'd be happy to do that, and so, am I in trouble? Okay, well, Mrs. Darcy Harrelson is the October Employee of the Month for Beatrice Public Schools. What a gift we have had in Darcy as a member of the staff at Paddock Lane. When Darcy joined our staff, she was the behavioral teacher for our youngest students. Her positive approach to children and her attitude that all can learn brought out the very best in our youngest students. To this day, she continues to keep those students close to her, greeting them whenever she sees them, always asking how things are going both at school and at home. She is never without a hug for her former students or a smile and a greeting for everyone at Paddock Lane. Darcy had the opportunity to move to the alternate curriculum program in the fall of 2021-22 school year. Working with the littles that are cognitively challenged has always been Darcy's first love. And what a positive move it was, not only for her, but for the children as well. Darcy brought with her the skills of juggling behaviors, providing academic support at a variety of levels, and staying attuned to the numerous medical needs of the students she serves. Her first-rate service to children is not her only skill or responsibility. Darcy trains her paraeducators on the strategies necessary to give the children top-notch service from every staff member in her charge. She mentors new special education teachers and can always be counted on to help and or advise any staff member in the building regarding serving special needs students. No matter the challenges Darcy may face in her classroom, she remains calm for the children and uplifting for all the other staff members. When Darcy comes into my office and closes the door, I know we are going to have one of those talks. It can be about any number of concerns or issues we might be facing at the time. However, I always know that when she leaves, we will have a solution, one that we have come to together because Darcy is a team player. Like many of our teachers, Darcy puts in many hours outside of the classroom to ensure that her students have what they need. Not just extra supplies, but she also spends a lot of her money, sorry about that, Rick, on things like snacks and clothes for children. Darcy always makes certain that each child every day receives plenty of smiles, a listening ear, and lots of warm hugs. It is indeed my pleasure to have Darcy receive the Beatrice Public Schools Employee of the Month.
Thank you.
I think
Darcy,
we
we
have
got
some.
something. Here too.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And I need a picture of you too.
Okay.
She only agreed to come with Rick tonight.
Yeah, I know there was.
Cost me a supper out of the deal.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations, Darcy. Next up, Business Friend of the Month, Mr. Alexander.
Okay. All right, so if I could have Julie and Kyle come down. Thank you. Tonight, we'll have to face this one. We are fortunate to have with us Julie Feist and Kyle Lenners from the First State Bank of Nebraska. As you know, we started this program a few months ago, or no, a year ago at this time, basically to start recognizing the businesses that support our students and our student athletes or our student activities or any part of our school system. And we just want to take this time tonight to recognize First State Bank of Nebraska for their support of our students. First State Bank of Nebraska has donated every year to the Beatrice Activities Account to help defer costs of supporting activities of our high school students. Their tiered debit card program that was initiated contributes an amount of money to the BPS Activities Fund based on how many Activity Orangeman debit cards are issued throughout the course of the year. So as those cards get issued, then there's a tiered system of how much they contribute back to the Activities Fund. The bank and their employees, we continually see supporting our Orange Boosters, our students, and our student athletes in many different ways, whether it's working as ticket takers, or helping in the concession stand, or cheering on the Orangeman or Lady O. We greatly appreciate all of their support. So we congratulate you for being the business friend of the month. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julie and Kyle. Next up, information portion of the meeting, starting with our student update. Riley.
Our preschoolers continue to learn the procedures for school. The teachers are having weekly lessons through a program called Cultivating Character. It is great to have all the staff using the same language to increase consistency and understanding. Parent-teacher conferences and the preschool book fair will be happening at the end of the month. And at our elementary schools, Lincoln and Stoddard just had a Little Mermaid performance from the SEC students. And they have an author coming in a couple of weeks for an author talk set up by Mrs. Katz. The 4th graders will be participating in Pioneer Field Trip Day and 5th grade Earth Day. At Paddock Lane, students received their house shirts this week. And on the 19th, each house will meet and come up with an original cheer, which they will share on the 28th at their house Halloween trick-or-treating event. The 4th and the 5th graders are working on the music for their concert Western Roundup, which will be held in the Hevelin Center on Monday, November 14th at 7 o'clock. For middle school, the volleyball teams had a game tonight against Ralston, and tomorrow is the middle school's picture retake day. Their second house competition is this Thursday, And this will be the last week for their fall sports, as it's the last week of the first quarter. And October 25th, they will have their middle school choir concert. And also, the boys cross country team had won state this fall, so that's really exciting. For the high school, if you didn't go to the fall musical, you missed it. It was awesome. The Little Shop of Horrors. And then we just had our manufacturing day, which was October 6th, where students were able to sign up to tour factories across town. All the seniors took time last week to enroll in college and get that opportunity. And then we have pink out this week, volleyball tomorrow, 7 in the Ozone, and football tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Friday, at the House of Orange against Pius. And our girls golf is currently competing in state out in Gering today and tomorrow. And after today, I think they were sitting 5th, so that's good. And there's an opportunity to take the PSAT Wednesday, October 12th. Picture retakes are Thursday, October 13th. And the Beatrice Community Hospital will be administering flu shots to students and staff on the 20th, 9 to 12. And the 24th, there's the fall high school vocal concert. And the 27th, the Key Club is helping put together the Night of the Great Pumpkin event for the city and the kids.
All right, thank you, Riley. Stance report.
Okay, the first stance meeting of 2022 was held on September 15th, which was more of an organizational type meeting. We talked about meeting dates, structures, times. There was an introduction time for new superintendents in the stance organization, and then we secured contact information and now have that ready to go out to senators in the form of a directory. As the president-elect to the stance organization, I meet weekly via Zoom with the past president, the current president, and the secretary-treasurer to discuss plans and agendas for upcoming meetings, and then also any emerging items that will take place during the session. So we do that weekly via Zoom, and then bi-weekly we're supposed to meet in person or on Zoom, just depending on what's all happening. The second meeting of the year will be held in person on September 27th, and we've secured both gubernatorial candidates, Carol Blood and Jim Pillen, for about an hour each to come in and talk to us about their educational philosophies as they see themselves in the seat of the governor's chair. So looking forward to that opportunity coming up here in a couple weeks towards the end of October. And I'm sure we'll have other business that we'll be talking about at that time that I'll update you on after that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is time for public forum citizens request for comments. I did not receive any comment cards or requests today, so we will go ahead and move on to the discussion portion. Starting with second reading of policies, Mr. Alexander, and we have a number of them.
Yes, so I don't plan to spend time going through those. You do have that policy breakdown in front of you. It's the same set of policies that we've talked about. This is now the second meeting, so we will be seeking approval at the November meeting for final approval of these policies. So if you do have questions on any of them, please reach out to me. Let me know before we initiate final reading in November. You have the breakdown in front of you. So.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jason on policies? Okay, next up, strategic planning, site plans. We will start with elementary.
We would just like to share our elementary site base. We selected three of the strategies. We have many more, but we selected three to present to you tonight because these are three we're working on right now. So strategy 1, we will design, develop, and implement new and existing buildings and technology infrastructure that are adaptable to the new curriculum and instruction and evolving needs of individuals and communities. We chose to emphasize action step 2, which is educational, safety, and equity demands. So at the present time, with our present buildings, our new building obviously will have many new things that will make it much safer and much easier to do our tornadoes practices and our fire exit practices and such. But right now we are reorganizing the exit locations for fire drills due to the number of students in specific locations of our buildings. At Paddock Lane, for example, we found that we were crossing groups of kids in order to get certain kids to certain rooms, and so we've reorganized those. And tornado shelter spots are being reassigned due to the number of students. Same thing, crossing students from one group to another, which cut down on our time. At Paddock Lane, I can tell you that our first fire drill took over 2 minutes this year. Never has it taken us, even with the number of students, that long. And so our second one, we had done in 80 seconds, so we were pretty pleased with that reorganization.
One thing we realized too with our tornado drills is because we've had such a mass number of kids this year between both Paddock, Lincoln, and Stoddard, 60-some kids, they don't all fit where we thought they would, like they did last year. So we've had to really do some revamping, and kind of like with our tornado drill too, it's a learning process, and that's why we do them. So it was good. It's good practice to do, and we adjust from there. Our second strategy that we did was we will incorporate social and emotional learning into the regular operations of school, and these are all 3 action steps kind of combined into one, which is addressing poverty, mental health, and trauma. Some of the things that we already have in place is like our Lady Mary assistance for our students, which we appreciate greatly from our community, participation in the diaper drive that the preschool got started, the backpack program, which is huge between both schools, and we're very thankful for Don Holtis and the high school with all their assistance with our backpack programs. The mental health support from Beatrice Community Hospital has been huge, not just for our students, but also for our staff. So I think that speaks highly of it. Professional development for paraeducators. It's something that was created from our district offices this year, and I think it's gone very well. Our paraeducators on Wednesdays are getting classes in the afternoons to help deal with situations. So I've heard nothing but positives about that. And then our guidance programs, both of our counselors have done a really good job trying to do what we call lunch bunches, where in the last previous years it started with maybe once or twice a week with 3 or 4 kids. Now we're up to almost 5 days a week with 10 to 15 kids, which is a lot, but trying to get all these kids seen, we're running out of time during the day. So we're doing lunch bunches with them. They don't miss recess, just lunch in the lunchroom, and it's worked extremely well. Some of them prefer to stay actually and talk to our guidance counselors instead of go out to recess and play. So kudos to our counselors for doing that, and Beatrice Hospital for stepping up and helping us out greatly with our mental health, as we all know that's a major concern in our society today.
Yeah. We offer up to 5 groups, and they're at 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, so it's a lot of kids that our counselors are seeing every week to work on a variety of things that they select. The kids get to select, you know, if they'd like to be in a group, and the information goes home to parents, and parents sign off on it. So it's a very popular program. Our last strategy that we wish to present to you tonight is strategy 4. We will provide research-based instructional learning strategies to meet each student's unique needs. And at this particular time, we are emphasizing positive approach. We're working on fine-tuning our PBIS, positive behavior intervention strategies. We're working on MTSS to do a stronger job when it comes to helping students, not just after they are tested to see if they qualify, but through the process, so some of those children get help in advance and do not end up needing the services of special education.
And yeah, one thing with that, Beth Hoekstra doesn't ever get a whole lot of love, and she does a tremendous job with our MTSS and helping with our SPED teachers, really giving them guidance and direction. And I know she doesn't get a lot, so I wanted to make sure we gave her a shout out, because she helps us out a lot, and she's kind of that behind the door person that nobody ever sees unless somebody's upset, I think. And she does a really good job at what she does, and just guiding our SPED teachers has been phenomenal with her. So that's all we have, unless you have questions for us.
Can you just elaborate a little bit on MTSS, what it stands for, and then just briefly a little bit of.
Multi-tiered systems and of support. So if a kid isn't quite qualified for special education yet, we can use our resource teachers and help pull them from classrooms, put them in small groups, potentially with some other kids that maybe are qualifying for SPED as an intervention process, having other teachers work with them, switching some classrooms around, stuff like that. And it's a process that's ongoing, but it's just another intervention piece before they do qualify for testing or get tested and be put into special education. So it's kind of a preliminary step in that. And it's helped keep a lot of our kids out of special education because we're finding time within the school day to help those kids in other avenues, because you have some kids who test and don't qualify and they're on that fence, and you don't want to just put them back in the classroom and not help them. This allows us to help all kids. And so, again, it's kudos to our SPED department and stepping up and finding time in their day, because they're very busy, to help with our kids and our teachers and helping them with interventions within the classroom as well.
Another part of that is because we are a district-wide title building, we can actually, as the title teachers can actually help children who qualify for special education in the area of reading and give them extra assistance, which without being a district-wide program, we wouldn't be able to do that. So the two programs get to work hand in hand in the reading area. Title kids can't receive special education services, but special education students can receive a boost in their reading services through our Title I program.
Both of those programs offer a lot of flexibility for our staff and our students to be able to get the help that they need. And it works both preventative and intervention-wise to help prevent students that may need a little extra help from falling through the cracks, and it also helps intervention-wise for students that need that extra help to get the interventions they need. So the MTSS is a great system, and the PBIS system, Positive Behavior Intervention system, is coming along nicely in all the buildings. So we look forward to seeing more of that in the future.
Well, and we're excited to work on it together with the same goals. So when the children all move to the same building, the vocabulary will be the same, the approaches will be the same, and that will be one piece that will not have to be addressed, as this is brand new and we don't know how to do it. So.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, next up, middle school.
While the middle school is coming up, just for informational purposes for anybody listening out there, the Beatrice Public Schools strategic plan that these site-based plans are based on is, it's up on the Beatrice Public Schools website. You have to click Beatrice Public Schools Strategic Plan 2022 through 2027, and it's 31 pages long, so make sure that it's very well organized and detailed. And everything that these different grade levels come in and talk about is all part of the strategic plan that has been was put together last fall through the use of through the help of community members, administrators, certificated staff, classified staff, and everybody at the school level. So just for information purposes, it's out there for everyone to see.
We had copies available for you at the Cal meeting, and then came to the board and we looked. And so if you don't have them, I'd be more than happy to get you copies of what we're talking about at this point. So we identified 4 strategies out of the 5 to talk about tonight. So the first one comes from strategy 1, which is we'll design, develop, implement new and existing buildings and technology infrastructure that are adaptable new curriculum and instruction and evolving needs of individuals and communities. So the action steps that the middle school is taking to address those is action step 1.2, which is address areas of concern related to safety and security in all facilities. So something we had recognized in the last couple of years is the increasing amount of student use of vaping, predominantly in our restrooms. So one thing that we looked at doing is putting our vape sensors into our restrooms. And to this point, we used some ESSER funds, some air quality funds to be able to do that. But to this point, we have seen a pretty significant reduction in that, which is good. Hopefully it's been used as a deterrent. Because all of our students, they don't have out periods. They're all accounted for at every period. The restrooms is generally speaking the only place that they have the ability to go into. And so we, to this point again, we'll continue to look at the data, but at this rate compared to the last couple of years, we've seen a pretty good reduction. The second strategy is we will incorporate social emotional learning into the regular operations of the school. And the action step is 2.2, integrate a systematic approach to address the mental health needs of our students and staff. As Mr. Jansen said, our counselors are doing a phenomenal job, Mrs. Rice and Mrs. Vogel. Some things that we have put into place is we have adopted a 7 mindsets curriculum. Every student has a weekly social emotional learning lesson that comes into their classroom with our counselors. They have adopted screeners that go to all students to develop to see who needs to have more check-in, check-outs, and more intervention and support on behalf of our counselors in the mental health realm. And they're tracking all that data. They actually just share it with us each month, but we do that on Monday morning, so we kind of see what things are coming into their offices, what are coming into ours, and so forth. But on the 28th of October, the counselors, we're hosting the Trailblazer Conference Counselors at, actually in the boardroom here. So all of our conference schools will get together, all the counselors, and talk about this very strategy. So not only is it just our counselors working together, but all 7 of our conference schools talking about the same thing. So what sort of social emotional curriculums they have across into their schools, what are they using for mental health screeners, et cetera. So professional development for those groups. The fourth strategy we have is we will provide research-based instructional delivery strategies to meet each student's unique learning needs. Action step 4.1 says we will develop and implement plans to give students opportunities to learn about and interact with a variety of career fields. So this one is kind of fun, and I think if you follow us on social media, you've seen some of the things that we're beginning to do with this. And this one kind of came open naturally, where we had our computer technology position open up last year. And from the time of posting, we decided let's turn a corner here a little bit and redesign what we can offer to our kids. And so what we've put out is something that I hope to stay on the cutting edge, so to speak, but give our students an opportunity to learn about career fields of those that are changing every day, and the biggest growing career field. So what's going on, Mr. Hoagland teaches our quarter technology class, and our district's positioned itself to get well over $10,000 in grants, excuse me, I hit the microphone at this point, for technology like robotics, 3D printers, cameras, digital media, software, hardware, things like that, to use what was once our old industrial tech classroom and put it into a computer technology space. We don't have industrial tech anymore, so the goal is for that classroom to have modules that are 3D printing. For example, we might give students a real life scenario and have them draw up a mock and then print it with a 3D printer and test their design. We've already had students, we've had donations from local businesses, and our computer department giving us old shell computers that we just don't use anymore. So our kids are identifying parts of the computers, taking them apart, putting them back together and seeing if they work again. We're looking at digital media as an introductory course like Beam has at the high school. So our kids are going around taking photos and videos and doing all the editing and things like that to introduce. And we're gonna introduce that concept and we're gonna tie that all into career fields. So that's kind of where it's at. We're in the building phase of that course, but that's an exciting one going on in middle school. It connects to strategy 4.
And then on strategy 5, we will develop and implement district-wide systems to enhance student learning. So the action step on that, this has been a school priority for the last 2 years, and we are beginning to see the fruits of our labor. PBIS has been implemented. So last spring, we have created school-wide matrix. So our staff created matrix. You see posters in 11 different areas on campus and in everybody's classroom that follow the same common language. They have to be safe, be respectful, be responsible. So students are hearing the same common language from our gymnasium to the cafeteria to the classroom, even to Friday night at football game. We have PBIS expectations. They might laugh a little bit at it, but they are there. Clear expectations for all students. Right now we have a weekly focus, so they're continuing to hear the same language school-wide. What's the expectation in classrooms? They're not the same expectations in a math classroom compared to a science classroom, but it has the same verbiage: be respectful, be responsible, and be safe. We had a yearly kickoff where all kids rotated through everything, heard the same verbiage from all staff members, just focusing on the positive. What do we expect to see school-wide every day? This is all tier 1 right now, so school-wide's getting that. We do have some tier 2, tier 3 small interventions going on for more intense students that need a little more focus right now. And it really works very well, the PBIS and our house system, they really go very well. We're focused on what we expect to see. We are reinforcing that with our house points. And when we do that, we have developed a house store where when they earn points, they will be purchasing different things here in the upcoming months and next semester when they are focused on doing what's expected of them school-wide. So that is our strategy 5 PBIS implementation.
All right, any questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We will move to the action portion of the meeting now. And first up is approval of the Beatrice Education Association as exclusive bargaining agent for the district's non-supervisory certified staff for 24-25 contract year. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 approve the Beatrice Education Association as the exclusive bargaining agent for the district's non-supervisory certificated staff for the 2024-25 contract year.
Thank you, Doris. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Janet. Mr. Alexander, do you have any comments?
Just, it's typical for the bargaining agents, in this case, the Beatrice Education Association, to request representation a year in advance of the actual year they will be bargaining for. So currently, we will enter into negotiations with the BEA before November 1st for the 22-23 school year, but at the same time, concurrently, it's typical for organizations to ask for recognition for the 24-25 year. At the same time, it's a formality, so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle, and make sure all checks and balances are completed before the next negotiation season starts.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Questions? All right, can I have your votes, please? And motion passes. Next up, Administrator's Report. We will start with a high school update. Mr. Suter and Officer Lowenstein.
And Toro.
And Toro. Can't forget Toro.
Well, who's going to watch anything but Toro?
We had a presentation at the police department, so he had to come with me, so we just got done with that, so.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening on our, we have two things we want to speak to you on. We had an opportunity last Tuesday to talk to Doug Kennedy and the community on Queeby about these two things also. So Doug, you could hit us again. He asked some great questions. The first thing we like to focus on is the standard response protocol. We just felt it was an important part to come and talk to the board about what the high school, and I know all the buildings in our district are doing with standard response protocols. They are basically, folks, what we do if bad things would happen or if things would happen within our school. And I'm pleased, as the high school principal, to let you know tonight, we have done all these 5 standard response protocols this quarter. Just having a secure drill held today in our building. We've done all these things, and so we take it very serious. We want to have a school that students feel safe in, that our staff feel safe in, that our community knows we take school safety seriously, and that we, in order to do that, we practice those things. Now, just like Mr. Alexander said earlier, almost everything we're trying to do anymore has some direct connection back to our strategic plan. And so our high school building strategic plan, strategy number 1, action plan number 1, action step number 1 says this, that we shall address safety concerns that exist within the high school building and take steps to minimize risk. And we feel SRP, Standard Response Protocol, is the way for us to identify those issues, to practice those drills, and to come up with our idea of what we would do in the event of these things actually happening. Officer Lowenstein does a tremendous job of training all of our students. All of our high school students have gone through the SRP training. All of our staff members have, all of our custodians, our support staff, our secretarial staff, everyone at the high school has gone through these protocols and this training as to what needs to be done in the event of a hold, a secure, a lockdown, an evacuate, or a shelter. And again, it directly connects to our strategic plan. What I've given you is a piece of paper that Officer Lowenstein has used when he held his meeting at the Helblund Center for Parents and Guardians to attend. He had a decent response in the community for that, but what this does, folks, is it gives you an example for, let's look at hold. It's in your hold in your classroom or area. It identifies what students do. And it also on that sheet identifies what the adults or the staff in the building do when a hold is declared. And it would go through those other things also. Officer Lowenstein, what else would you want to tell them about this?
One thing I preach on when I teach this class is I like to give people a toolbox, because there's a million things that can happen, whether we're inside a school, whether we're at a school board meeting, an outdoor concert, inside a bank, or a shopping center. Bad things can happen, so what are my options to respond in the event of an emergency? And so if they take that toolbox with them, it can go with them anywhere. Okay, so since kindergarten, we've all been trained, if the fire alarm goes off, we stand up and file out of the building, and then we get to safety. That's one of the tools in this toolbox. And really, Standard Response Protocol addresses essentially every emergency with 1 or 2 of these pieces, always preparing for the next step if you have to.
I think the thing that's also very good is that there was a time, folks, where schools would come up with their own protocols. There would be a code word that could be used, or a color could be said over the intercom, and the school, if they'd gone through their training for their school, knew what they were supposed to do. The problem is that when you have responders coming into different schools, they may not know what those responses are. And so what's happened with the state of Nebraska is the state said, we're going to want schools to use a standard response, and every school is training the same way. All the students in our state are going through the same drills and practices, and then thus those responders that come in to the schools know that this is what's been declared, this is what's happening, and they know what their responses should be. So you don't have Beatrice High School using a code word if something is going on, and the middle school using a different code word, and the elementary is using something else, and then the responders having to not know exactly what has been declared or what the actions the school has taken. So the standard response protocols is a really important piece of this also. So important, folks, that Officer Lowenstein has even, when he's presented this, and we were on the radio, we've actually had businesses in town, or even some of the governmental agencies in Beatrice seek Officer Lowenstein or the police department out, and they're implementing these also. So when those responders come to, say, the public library, they know this is what's happening, this is how we're going to respond to that. So that's an important piece of this, the standard response protocols.
So another piece is not only the municipalities taking it on, but also all of our partners, the police department, fire department, ambulance service, they are trained in this, so they understand what those protocols are, and they understand what that word means. So if there's an emergency going on down the street from the school, an officer can call me on the radio and say, hey, I need this school put into this protocol. And we utilize that. There's been times where the school will see flashing lights a block away from the school and ask. The other week was Officer Nesbitt, hey, do we need to do anything? And they said, nope, just a regular traffic stop. Okay. But the things can get out of hand quick, so we are ready to respond if needed, but we don't over-respond. The great thing about this is it doesn't have to go, we don't have to go find Mr. Suter to call this and implement the action step. It's anybody can initiate standard response protocol, even a student by reporting the danger that they perceive to a staff member, and it can automatically go. Worst case scenario that I trained is if you're wrong and there was no danger, we got our drill done for that quarter. We're done. And we know what went well, what didn't, what we need to change.
Do you have any questions for us on standard response protocols? And what the high school particularly has been doing with those? Okay, the next thing we'd like to talk to you tonight about is the Beatrice High School mini market. The handout that we gave you is there for you to look at. Officer Lowenstein has really been integral with this, along with the community food pantry. Again, here's the strategy, our strategic plan that goes with this. And I can't think of a better thing for us to be doing to help with this strategy. It's strategy 2, action plan 1, action step 1. We are to strengthen and reflect on current partnerships with community agencies who work with Beatrice High School students who come from families of poverty to ensure basic needs are met. And Officer Lowenstein, I'm really proud of the work you've done with this. Do you want to start off and tell the board about this?
Yeah, thank you. So I belong to the MAPS Coalition, multiple agencies partnering for success, and we actually meet in this room on a regular basis. And I had the opportunity to meet Tara Dunker. She works at the University of Nebraska Extension Office, and she does great work in our community. I can't even begin to understand her title, but it has to do with a food specialist and the community. So we just started talking about some of the food insecurities and issues in our community. How can we address those? And I think it was around March of this year when we started talking, last school year, and tried to get it going as quick as we could, but wanted to do it correctly. So working together, I know my grocery bill has skyrocketed over the last year. And what I found is the USDA said in the first 7 months of 2022, average grocery costs have risen 8.9%, and they expect it to exceed 10% by the end of the year. And I would argue that that's low when I look at my grocery bill at home. So food insecurities has touched so many of our families in this community. We thought, what can we do to help while maintaining maximum dignity? So through talking with her and working with her and other partners, we've had several meetings, brought Mr. Suter in because as the principal, this is going to help a lot of students and we needed his partnership, and he jumped on board right away. So my old office inside the high school the walls started closing in when Toro joined me. So we got a bigger office, but it was almost like this space was built for the BHS mini market. So what it is, it's stocked with non-perishable food essentially that have long shelf life, but are good, healthy, nutritious foods that students can either take home with them to help supplement their family's needs, or if there's a quick snack that they need in between classes because they didn't get enough breakfast or they didn't have time for breakfast that day, we have that too. We are not competing with the food program, the federal food program, so nothing is offered 30 minutes before, during, or after any of those meals. So I'm happy to say that it's being utilized and it's helping some of our students. With the maximum dignity, I want them to do it the way that they want it done. So far, the majority of people utilizing it, we just let them go into the closet, and I mean, there's boxed cereal, mac and cheese is super popular, peanut butter and jelly, I can't even, pasta, some simple meals, hamburger helper, but whatever they want, put it on the counter. I'll bag it up and we'll figure out a way to get it home. We don't expect them to take 6 bags of groceries or whatever on the school bus home with them. said, we want to maintain maximum dignity. And that has been super successful. It's got a lot of appreciation from students and families. So the important piece that I want everybody to know, there's no application process. There's no maximum income requirement. This is here to help whoever needs help at that specific moment, whether it's one meal or filling in the gaps that services in the community aren't able to fulfill.
I think the thing that was good when we met with the community food pantry, we're not diminishing or we're not taking away from the backpack program, but the backpack program has a specific focus more on elementary or even lower middle school age students. So we saw there was a lack of what kind of supports would our high school age students need or have a needing available to them, and this seemed like that would be a good thing to bring on board to our high school age students.
I think it's a great program. How do you plan to sustain it?
So right now, the first year, the community food pantry has allocated funds that it appears will far surpass the need for this existing school year, the 22-23 school year. Since we rolled this out, we've had lots of people roll in, hey, I want to help support. Hey, I have this much funds that I would like to put toward it. What I have requested so far, and I think I have the support of Tara when I talk with Tara Dunker, is right now, if people want to support this specific program, they work with Tara to make a donation to the food pantry, and then it gets earmarked specifically for this program. What that will do, for example, there was an offer of a $250 donation late last week after the radio program. And so that would free up $250 that the community food pantry had allocated for this program, so 10% of the total, to go back into the community because somebody has made that donation towards this program. So in future years, it would appear through, like our leadership program has reached out, hey, we would like to do maybe some food drives or some money drives to help support this because we see the good that it's doing for our students. So I think it will probably be self-sustained, but we're also always looking for, and the extension office is always looking for new partners to help support good programs like this.
Yeah, the community pantry did, as Officer Lonstein said, most of the food has long shelf life or is non-perishable, but they did mention if this gets up and going that they would at some point maybe even look at more some fresh vegetables and fruit being able to be offered to our students also. And it goes right alongside with our clothes closet that we've had available for our student body for many years. And within even our clothes closet, Eric, we've got a hygiene closet where we've had people that donated toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoos, soaps, those kind of things that our students might be in need of also. This is a natural, we feel a natural fit and addresses that strategy really well.
I think it's a wonderful example of the collaborative efforts of this community to support schools. So thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
One thing I wanted to also, on the safety and security part, actually get to take part in both the Nebraska and National School Safety and Security Summit, both the Nebraska local one as well as the national one next week. Thankfully, a lot of it's via Zoom, so I'll be able to still stay in the high school, do my job while I get to get some really good information on safety, security in schools. So that'll be next week as well.
It was good that Toro made this room too small for Officer Lonstein. We could use it for something like this. So, thank you, Toro.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the programs and
Did you guys
the good
get that?
information.
See you, Zach.
All right, next up, superintendent report. Mr. Alexander.
Okay, so just some things that are up and coming in the superintendent's office. That a tentative meeting is set for the start of the negotiation season. One of the other things that's required in that whole process is that we meet prior to November 1st. That's a CIR, Court of Industrial Relations requirement. So we will be doing that. We have a tentative meeting set October 17th. We're still waiting for responses from everybody that's involved with that on the BEA side and the board side to determine whether that'll take place that day or we'll have to find another day before November 1st. Dana F. Cole has sent 4 auditors this year, and they were in the office from September 27th through the 29th, and checking all the financial aspects of the district. Preliminary reports sound good. They take a lot of work back with them and then work on it in their office, and so we don't really know until we get closer to December when they come and do the presentation. But again, they were very impressed with the work that Jackie Bornemeyer does in terms of keeping all the records and the financial oversight of the finances and the financial records of the office. You heard earlier mentioned that training for our paraeducators has been taking place. We took 4 Wednesdays in September and provided training for our paraeducators in different aspects of being a paraeducator, everything from working with students to SRP protocols to just anything that may be of question to paraeducators and how to work with kids that they are experiencing in the classroom. And it was very good feedback that we've received so far. Actually, we had a request for an additional day on a specific topic, so that will be taking place, I think, this coming week or next week. So we're adding 1 extra day in there for training for our paraeducators, which also fits into our strategic plan, strategy number 3, finding and retaining high-quality staff. November 2nd, we will have the annual district Meet Your Cousins PLC. And so for those of you that have been here, you know, but for anyone that hasn't, what happens at the start of the year is we all start the year and we have great professional learning opportunities. We get together as a staff and we focus a lot on getting the school year off to a great start. And then it seems like we all go into our silos of preschool, elementary, middle school, and high school, and we never really come back together again. So this is an opportunity for the staff to come back together after the first quarter is over, revisit some of the things that are going on, talk about different aspects of the things that the administrative team prioritize for them, and we do that, and we call it the Meet Your Cousins PLC because we all come together as a family again. So that's up and coming. November 11th is the Luck of the Orange event, so please mark your calendars for that. Funds this year that are raised for the Luck of the Orange will go towards teacher grants, so look for information coming out on that. And then you know that we have been working extensively with the auto dealerships here in town to come up with quotes for vehicles that were damaged in the hail storm this summer. We were able to get 2 quotes on new vans. If we order them now, they'll be in sometime in 2023, and there is no guarantee what sometime will be. So we have secured 2 quotes, and we'll be bringing those to you in the committee of the whole meeting to discuss with you as we approach that October committee of the whole meeting, so that's forthcoming as well. We did have an update scheduled for the new elementary building, but we did not get the full fly-through video from the architects. They did provide us a miniaturized version of the fly-throughs for staff meeting last week with the elementary teachers, but we want to have that full fly-through for you, so we will save that presentation for probably either the October committee of the whole meeting or the November board meeting. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jason? One quick note from me, superintendent evaluation should be coming out on Wednesday. Should be receiving an email to complete that. Jason has completed his, or is working on completing his self-evaluation, so once we have that, they will share with the board as well. So those are due by the 21st. So please complete that online. Next up, notification of next meeting. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be November 14th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. The Committee of the Whole meeting will be October 25th at 6 p.m. in the Administration Building. An agenda for the meeting, which shall be kept continually current, is readily available for public inspection at the superintendent's office during normal business hours. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that the Board of Education of District 15 adjourn.
Thank you, Doris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Janet. Can I have your votes, please?
Just to note that that October 25th committee of the whole has been moved from Thursday to Tuesday in order for us to be able to hand out candy at the Night of the Great Pumpkin. Votes.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.